Welcome back, family. This is There's Layers to This, the podcast where we discuss the layers to the simplicity and complexities of life. In today's episode, we are discussing chaos. This is such an interesting episode and I was blown away. I remember listening back to it again and saying, wow, did we talk about all of this? It is actually a two-parter episode, but I'll just give you a quick snapshot and make sure you listen to the end. We look at, of course, the fact that life in itself is inherently chaotic. We look at the chaoticness of death in itself. We look at the importance of embracing yourself, embracing chaos, breathing in and breathing out. We need to experience life for what it is rather than trying to control it for what it is not. Our ability to say no means that we have better experiences of life as it is happening. And in our decision to create opportunities for ourselves, we can then experience chaos in a whole new way. So I encourage you to watch this and listen, whatever you're doing right now. But this is an amazing episode yet again. And make sure you tune in for part 2 where we talk about order.
I'd like to begin with a fact. Whether in a small town like McAllen, the Rio Grande, or in Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles, it is business. Big business.
Hello, once more. This is There's Layers to This, and I am Faith-Rose, and we are here with...
Dumi!
I almost thought you forgot your name there for a minute.
I did for a second. I won't lie to you, I did for a second. I was like, what's my name? I was like trying to figure out, like, do I say my name or like, do I find something cool, something nice to say? Like, oh well.
Well, if you've forgotten our names, even though we just said them, as they were in last episode, they are on our little videos. So you'll be able to see our Instagram handles, and that's my same name over all socials. I am Faith-Rose, and Dumi's is Dumi_HW. So yeah,
There's an interesting story about the
yes,
HW.
very interesting story. Listen a couple of episodes back to hear that story. I heard it for the first time that day. I had an inkling because I was thinking MW, like, Malawi. I was like, was it like a slip? But no, it's very intentional, HW. So yeah, if you know what it's about, comment below. So yeah, here we are again, shooting yet another episode of There's Layers to This. I'm still on a high from the last episode. That was like, I think that has to be my favorite episode so far.
Human Condition was good. That was a good
Human
episode.
Condition was good. And now we're going to talk about, this is going to be a two-parter episode. So we're looking at order and then we're looking at chaos, because I guess it's one or the other. You're either living in an orderly state or you're living in a chaotic state. So yeah, Dumi, tell us about order.
Well, right, to be quite honest, order is just order. Like, what else are you gonna say? Like,
look, I'm not trying to do long-winded questions. Like, I'm just like, you know what? Tell me what you have to say. And what you're just telling me, you've got nothing to say.
I mean, because this is the best way for us to start the chaos theory episode. But yeah, I mean, like, order is order. In the sense that, like, like, order defines chaos, basically. So order is basically like when things run in a systemic fashion, right? Mm-hmm. Basically. And,
So it's a set of systems, it's a set of processes that work seamlessly.
Yeah, seamlessly.
To
together,
create
to produce
perfection.
You know what I'm saying? You understand. Anyways. Now, I'm going to ask you about what you think chaos is. Like,
chaos?
Well, we're going to figure out chaos. Right?
As you said, it's the opposite of order. Okay, so I'll just take it back a little bit and just my view on the whole concept of order. And I think order looks like oneness. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm saying this is because Oneness can describe direction. Oneness can describe character. Oneness can describe so many things, but then it's like, you know what you're getting. Like, and then chaos is just like the other side of things. You don't know what's happening. Like, 1 + 1 is 5. Like, there's a lot going on. And you've got no way of controlling it. But I guess it just comes back to like a lack of control. It's just like that night and day sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I guess chaos is everything that people do not want. But I think chaos should be embraced. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, well,
right.
I'm a creative. I've got a bit of a chaotic mind sometimes. And you know what? Sometimes I just roll with it. I'm just like, you know what? We're talking right now. And then we're going off on a tangent. And I'm just like, it's okay. Let's let it happen. It's organic. We're going to get somewhere at the end of it. But yeah, I think chaos should be embraced. What do you think, Dumi?
Yeah, chaos should be embraced. Definitely. Why? Okay, let's put it this way, right? So the Chinese have an understanding of what order and chaos are, and good and evil, all of it. Just two existing philosophies or ways of life that complement each other. I hope I got that right. Please help me, Wikipedia. Anyways, basically, I feel like chaos should be embraced because, like, if something is not in your control, it's not in your control. You don't need to, be worried about something that you can't control. For example, right? One of the most chaotic things, and it's weird that we talk morbidly about these things sometimes, but, one of the most chaotic things to ever happen in life is just death. Because you have no control over death.
Unless you commit suicide.
Well, there's people. Okay, here's the thing. There's that. I think 6 years ago, a suicide bomber went to Boston and tried to blow himself up, and his insides were stuck outside, but this guy lived. So wow. I don't know. Is he really in control if he tried to commit suicide and lived? So when you think about it, like, when you think about it from that perspective, as human beings, do we live in a state of chaos? Is it possible that like our lives are not in our control? I mean, because you don't control being born, and then you have no control over dying. That is
well, that's the beginning. Well, I guess it's the beginning and the end. So,
yeah, you have no control over the beginning.
So what's happening in the middle? Like,
I mean, like, life happens. Life happens. You have no control over like how people feel about you. You have no control over what your boss thinks about your work. You can do good work, and then like someone just doesn't like it. Someone who's like happens to be important for your career doesn't like your work.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how life is. Life is inherently, right? The construct of life is inherently chaotic because you can't control everything outside of yourself.
Yeah.
But order is now applied when you can effect, not change, but you can cause an effect on your surroundings, and you can now put things in a systemic fashion that brings things to perfection. I mean, chaos is the reason why there's no such thing as perfection. Because I mean, like, you and I, we use tech a lot. Our tech has like all these things that they say are perfect about it. I mean, you and I use MacBooks. So it's like, they're like telling you like this thing does this and that and that and that. But at the end of it, like, there's just like not enough memory in the world for everything that's in your brain. You see what I mean? Like, if you were to just sit down and talk for days, like just sit down in front of your computer and talk for days, at some point it would hit an error and say there's not enough memory to continue recording. So chaos, I believe, is the construct in which order forms itself. So yes, if you can see it, I made the yin and yang sign. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, is that what that was? I thought you were just flailing your arms around wildly.
No, I was trying to kill it, man.
All right, okay, yeah. No, okay. In that case, I saw it. I got it. I'm with you.
Well, Well, anyways, how do you feel about the concept of not being able to control everything in your life? Because I'm a control freak, but I don't like that. I don't like that I can't control everything. So how do you feel about living in a chaotic world? Oh God.
As I said, chaos should be embraced. Breathe in, breathe out. All I'm saying is you just need to do you, man. Just keep being you. Just keep figuring things out. Like, what else are you going to do? But one of the key things that I really like about being a Christian is because I'll just be like, well, what are we doing now, God?
Yes. Because, like,
that's it.
That's it.
Like I can't do anything. Like, okay, I've tried to get a job. I've studied. I've done all of these things. I've done everything that's in my control. What next? Not being in control is beautiful, but then it also can be anxiety inducing. And I'm not trying to dumb down the effects of stuff of not being in control. But I think we really do need to learn how to let go a lot more often, because when we let go, that's when we begin to see things in a different perspective. Sometimes when something is not working out, maybe you need to stop and say, okay, let me regroup. Let me see what's what. Let me review stuff. Let me just look at things from a different perspective. Because if we're looking at this this little mug, for example, it looks different this way, it looks different that way, it looks different this way, but it's still the same mug, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So situations are the same. It doesn't matter what the situation is. There's different ways of looking at it. There's different ways of experiencing it. So I think if you look at life from the premise of saying, okay, I am here to experience it, then you are more likely to embrace it all. And you say, I'm here to experience the good and the bad. And with the understanding that the bad is what can sometimes bring the beautiful. And so I think there's that whole marrying of the two. This is not yin and yang. This is just
it's marriage.
I don't know. That
looked like the DNA
of the
thing,
two. Yeah, and I'm sure I saw it some time ago. I don't know where it came from, but then it's basically saying, okay, sometimes, well, in life you have a wolf in you. There's like a good wolf and a bad wolf. Mm-hmm. The one that you feed is the one that will get bigger. Mm-hmm. So I think it's all looking at the perspective again. There are certain things that are not in our control, but we focus on the things that we can control. We find new perspectives. We find new understandings. We read up on stuff. So I think there's a lot to be said on what the perfect state is to do stuff in. But the bottom line is that we need to put ourselves in a position where we are able to experience life for what it is, rather than to control it for what it's not. Because we don't know what's happening tomorrow.
Sound bites. Hey man, let's be honest. Yeah, I am going to make a picture out of that and put like the butterfly theory thing, like that picture of the butterfly theory, and then I'm gonna have like, that sound bite specifically. I'm not going to repeat it because I don't completely remember it. But
nor do I. So we're in the same boat. Whatever that sound bite is, but yeah, we're here.
We're going to figure it out.
We're here for it.
Jeevan, I hope you can hear all of this. Yeah, but anyways, when you think about life, from my perspective, I would say that in the way I look at life, I'm an extremely controlled individual. I like to be in control of everything, and in some cases, even the things I can't control. And unfortunately, what that does is it creates unnecessary stress. And trust me, I'm speaking from experience. For all those listening, like, it creates a lot of unnecessary stress and hurts even some of the things that you're doing in an orderly fashion, and it hurts some of the things that you do have control over. But I think it's an important thing to look at. And one of the things I wanna go into as well is, I remember we were having a conversation, I think before recording this, like about how the chaos theory and everything. and all the things that, we have no way of knowing are going to change, and the universe is bigger than we think, and so on and so forth. Now, I just want to read out what the chaos theory. I don't actually remember who wrote it. I've just got my Wikipedia open for some reason. Do not use that for school, please. Please don't.
Just use it for podcasts.
Yeah, use it for podcasts, and then the thing is,
we'll get better references.
Exactly. Well, I mean, like with the podcast, what we want you guys to do is have your own opinion. So definitely go and do the research. If you find the stuff polarizing, you want to put your own opinion and your own views on there. That's why we want you guys to comment, so that you can correct us if we're wrong. That would be great. But yeah, anyways, just here it says, chaos theory is an interdisciplinary theory stating that within the apparent randomness of chaotic complex systems, oh my God, so many big words, there are underlying patterns, interconnectedness, constant feedback loops, repetition, self-similarity, and fractals. So let's talk about the nature of blessings, or maybe let's talk about the nature of opportunities, right? Maybe that's easier to look at it from that way. Opportunities, a lot of the time, do not come back the same way, but they come back in cycles. So you may not get the same exact opportunity that maybe you might have missed in life, but even chaos itself has a system that it follows, and there's some form of repetition, whether it is in the occurrence, the type of occurrence, or whether it is in like the situation and so on. You find that you will get the same exact opportunity but at a bad time, or you'll get like a slightly different opportunity at a good time. So like that's how chaos is. What I want to know is, like, how do you use that to your advantage as an individual? How do you use that to to make your life more worth living? It's sort of like, if we go back to human condition, we talk about that there's things that we can do, but now how do you use the opportunities that you receive in a chaotic world to improve your life and your surroundings and so on?
Well, I think it's exactly as you said. It goes back to the human condition and some of the things we're discussing in that episode. And I think it goes back to, what is your focus? Because sometimes, an opportunity can come more than once, and sometimes opportunities don't come more than once. They may present themselves in a different way. Maybe you'll be able to realize that it's that at a different stage in life. But I think if we are looking at that and having a deeper and a greater understanding of it all, it's all about your focus at that point in time. And for you to be able to have a better experience of life, it's about having a clarity as much as possible as to what aligns with what you want. We need to have a vision for what we want. We need to also have the understanding that it might change at a different point in time. There's different seasons in life that we're going through, and things are constantly changing. So maybe some things might change a little bit, but then at the core of it is who you are. But I think who you are is so important and so effective and so important that you need to know yourself to be able to say, okay, is this in line with what I want? Because I think the intrinsic nature of chaos and the embracing of chaos and looking at order, what gets you on the road to order is having that clarity, that single-mindedness to be able to say that this is what I want. And if it's not leading me to that, then I don't want it. So when we're looking at better life experiences, it boils down to our ability to say no.
Wow. Okay. I was just trying to figure that out. So when it comes down to life experiences, and I mean, in our conversations privately, being a musician, you and I have spoken about the importance of saying no. to certain projects, especially because, you know, you may not understand at the time that it's being offered to you the responsibilities that you might need to take up, or even just you don't have the time to, you know, to go into that. And I think, yes, it is very important to say no. Obviously, opportunities don't come back the same way, and they don't usually, you hear that whoever it was, you know, you were working with, or the person that was offering you that job went on to become some ultra successful individual. That's one of the things that I hate about the chaotic world, because like in a perfect world, you're in control of all these things and you're able to see where everything goes. But then the fact that tomorrow is not a day that is promised. So like, I can't promise that tomorrow I'm going to be able to do this or say this, you know, like kind of like businessmen.
So you're saying you should say yes?
Well, no. I mean, like, over time.
I was like, let's just be clear here, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So it's all chaotic, but it all is interlinked. So I might as well just say yes to everything.
Well, no. I think, yeah, that's it's a good thing that you called me out on that. But no, that's not what I mean. What I mean is, like, life is extremely difficult to predict. So I think what we're trying to say here in this episode is to say, okay, in a chaotic life and in a chaotic world, we need to understand and sort of think 4, 5, 6 moves ahead, you know, kind of like chess. Play our odds the same way we would do if it was chess. So, you know, like, we have to understand that there's possibility for this and that to happen. And obviously research and all of that stuff is part of trying to order that chaos to understand it. Unfortunately, though, tomorrow is never promised. So like, there's no way of knowing that whatever you perceive might happen will actually happen. Now, my problem is, you know, I don't like that. So where do I go from there?
I mean, well, the way I'm just looking at it, and, you know I just left it at, like, you know, it's on our ability to say no. But there's, for lack of a better term, there's layers to this.
You heard it here.
I mean, there's so much there to think about. Yes, it's our ability to say no. And we are saying that these opportunities come, and then that person turns out to be the great next best thing. Like, you know, I should have bought shares in Google or whatever it is. Like, you know, I had the opportunity. But I think what is also important is also our own understanding to know that we are intrinsically creative.
Yeah.
Create opportunities for yourself. Do the work that you want to be doing. Don't say, I want to be a filmmaker, and you're sitting there and you've never picked up a camera, you've never tried any editing software, you're just saying, I'd love to be a filmmaker, and you're telling everyone, but what steps are you taking towards getting to that place? So I think there is a lot to be said about opportunity. There is a lot to be said about our own intrinsic ability to create that opportunity, because there's no such thing as luck, right? It's an opportunity meeting preparedness. And however prepared you are, that's it. Like, you know, for lack of a better term, like, I'm sure everyone's already heard this, you know, there's no such thing as an overnight success. When we watch all these things, like, these people are coming to us when they are at their peak. So they've been working in the background for a long, long time. And I believe that they have that clear-cut vision of saying, okay, this is what I want. And I'm not saying that what you want when you're 15 is what you want when you're 25. And, you know, who you are is constantly changing. And, you know, when we're thinking about that, we work at different levels of intensity and in terms of our own understanding of who we are, depending on our own experiences. So if we look at it from that premise, from that perspective, we'll be able to understand that the older we get, the further along we get, the clearer things will be, and be okay with that, because we are here to experience life, which is why I'm saying, let us embrace chaos. It's not the easiest thing, but we have to embrace it, because that's when we get to know more about ourselves. We'll be like, oh, okay, so that means this or that means that, and also embrace chaos, but also take time to reflect so that you'll be able to truly understand, to say, okay, well, maybe this is what's going on, or maybe it's not. But if it is, I'm here for it. If it's not, I'm here for it, because it's all an experience and it's all a chance just to grow and just become better. So but then the beauty of it all is that, yeah, you probably will start off saying yes to everything,
But
but
as
time
time
is a
goes,
finite resource, right?
yeah.
Time is a finite resource. And if you're saying yes to everything, that means you are saying no to what you truly want to do. So I think balance is a bit of a funny word to say. I mean, I don't think there's such a thing as balance, really. I think there's different seasons at different times, and that's what we need to understand. So balance can be heavy focus on learning how to use Final Cut Pro, which would take hours and hours. And then, like, in a few months, an edit that took you 5 hours would take you 10 minutes, because you understand the software and you understand exactly what you're doing. You have a clear vision of what you want and you get it done. So, like, it's understanding how the world works, understanding that things are very seasonal, understanding that our experiences are what inform our decisions, understanding that there's a lot of things that are going on, a lot of things that we can't control, but what we can control is our ability to weed out what is not best serving us, what is not best suiting us at that point in time.
No, yeah, that's a powerful thing to. Wow. Yeah. You see, this is why I like having these conversations with Faith, because I think about it that way. But yeah, I understand that now. I think as individuals, especially in life, it becomes very difficult for us to understand how life goes, because not being able to know tomorrow means that the opportunities that you take today affect tomorrow, but you can't really tell if they will. And so especially in the field that I work in the music industry, it is paramount that we are ready all the time. So I think as musicians, the 10,000 hour rule, it applies wholeheartedly, because you practice by the time you get to the peak of what you're doing in music, you have actually already completed 10,000 hours, because you have to be good at what you do, whether it's talking to people. If you're a promoter and you talk to people and you organize events, you spend hours and hours in meetings, conversations, spending money, doing things to promote these events. If you are a musician or a producer, you do the same, but in your own field. And, in Faith's, in yours as well. And I'm pretty sure being a teacher and understanding people is an intrinsic part of being a facilitator in the world, being a person who just builds other people's dreams. That is powerful. And that's a very, very important thing to understand. Now, I'm going to talk about order.
Wow. I hope you've enjoyed that. Now we are thinking about order. So, write down in the comment section below what you thought of this episode. Write down about what you thought of what we think about chaos. Of course, we already know what I think about chaos, but this is your chance to write down and see if you can predict what we're going to talk about next week. I look forward to seeing you more and hearing you comment. Remember, this is There's Layers to This, the podcast where we discuss the layers to the simplicity and complexities of life.